I have not one, but two. Oh, no, that's three. One, but two. There we go. I can count. One is I love LA Noire. I absolutely love LA Noire. That game came out. I was living in this lovely little bubble of just love for LA Noire, and then I came here, and Scott Tailford hates LA Noire, and every time I bring up LA Noire with my good friend Josh Brown,
hell yeah,
he just comes on in being like, oh, I don't like LA Noire, oh. And then like I'm just there like, he's not here so he can't defend himself right now, but yeah, the gaming
that's the best time to stick the boot in.
Exactly, and the gaming moment that I want to forget is Scott Tailford hating on LA Noire all the time, because it reminds me that I can't have nice things.
What was your second one?
So Metal Gear. I've never been like too massive on Metal Gear. I had the HD collection, so I played through. It was 2, Snake Eater and Peace Walker, and I enjoyed those. Peace Walker, I kind of got stuck on a boss, and that really made me sad. But I enjoyed those games. So when Ground Zeroes and the Metal Gear Solid 5 came out, I was like, oh, I'm liking this. Ground Zeroes had a really awkward ending where you're rummaging around someone's. I don't like that. But Metal Gear Solid 5, just quiet. I mean, I just don't know what's going on with quiet. The moment where Hideo Kojima before that was like, you're going to be really ashamed when you find out you've been judging me for putting this gorgeous babe in skimpy clothing. You're going to, shame on you, sir, shame on you. And then his explanation for that was a really just like, you know, we're going to show her showering. See, look, she breathes through her skin. Shame. Photosynthesis, and I was just like, I wish the game's fine without that. I don't need that. And then you play with her enough, she starts doing the weird dances in the helicopter. I'm just like, why?
The fact that you used the term play.
I know.
Enough, like, it's infected you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Every time you close your eyes, you just see that jiggling meat sack. Is that how you pulled your groin?
Oh no.
You can spin this answer in many different ways. You can say it's either a positive thing you want to forget and relive, or a negative thing you just simply want to forget. For me, I would love to forget ever even purchasing Micro Machines World Series, because that game was garbage. I would love to be able to go back and play the demo disc of Split Second again, because the first time I experienced that game was like the best thing ever. I'd love to go back and do that again. But I think that the one thing I'm gonna sort of go back to is cast your minds back to when cartoons used to be a lot less PC, as it were. You go back to the 40s, 50s, 60s, and a lot of cartoons had a bit of like racist, bit of sexist sort of humor in place. Nowadays, you find it cut completely, or it'll give you a disclaimer saying, you know, this was stuff for an old generation. Let's just, you know, moving on. This is that kind of same idea that this was a different time back then. Even though it's crept through all the way up till last year. But that is the voice acting for the zombies characters in Call of Duty. Back in World at War, when the 4 characters were introduced in Shinonuma, Takeo Misaki, which is a Japanese soldier, Nikolai Belinsky, a Russian soldier, Dr. Edward Richtofen, a German Nazi scientist, and Tang Dempsey, who's this big burly American dude, they all had these really over-the-top voice-acted characters, and whenever I go back to World at War, to Black Ops, and even then in Black Ops 3 and 4, they sort of reprised those versions of the roles, but they didn't tone them down compared to how they used to be. Whew, they're pretty racist. Like, to the point when I'm there thinking, I'm surprised this got through the cracks. I'm surprised I enjoyed this so much with just how cringy and awkward these characters are. For example, Takeo, not going to do the accent because no, saying things like, "I'll bring dishonor to your family" as he kills zombies, and you know gets a gun out of the box. This weapon brings me honor. You got Nikolai saying, "Oh, the gun is empty. Bring me some vodka." And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, it was. But then when in Black Ops 2, at the end of it, they had alternate versions of themselves, long story, very long story, and they became a lot more grounded, and the characters became so much more interesting. But every so often, these old stereotypes sort of creep back into the lore, and you've got the voice actors coming back in 2018 for Classified in Black Ops 4 and recording all these lines back how they used to, and it's like, this stuff is the kind of thing I want to forget, and I always do forget that it happened and that the voices sounded like this, but then I go back to it again and remember that, wow, this is some racist stuff. This does not bring me honor.
Back in 2017, Destiny 2 was coming out on the PC, My friends played it on the PS4 and yeah, they absolutely loved it. Like they said it was a brilliant loot shooter, and October I bought it, played it, and I was really interested in the raiding, so I leveled up 2 characters to level, I think it was level 20, which was the cap at the time. And we did the Leviathan raid, and yeah, like obviously we were really bad because our gear was really crap. So I just played it over and over again for like the heroic strikes and trying to just get my gear up basically. I put a lot of time into it. And then comes the DLC, which was Curse of Osiris. That locked you out of doing the Leviathan raid. Like unless you bought the DLC, you just couldn't do it, you were locked out of it. And basically like I put in like 50 quid of my own money into the game, and like that was already really steep for a PC game especially. So like paying another like 20, 30, 40 quid, I don't know how much it was back when it was released. It's just ridiculous really. So I kind of just stopped playing that, and I kind of want to forget like putting all that time into the game and all those hours that I spent into it. Just like trying to prepare for that raid, which I couldn't do. And it just kind of like sucks really. It was a horrible moment that I just wanted to forget. And also I was going to talk about Anthem, but everyone's kind of forgotten about it anyway. So it's a crap game. It doesn't deserve to be remembered. So yeah.
Job done.
Job done.
Mine actually occurs in a DLC for the first Outlast, which is a very scary, very graphic game. Most of the game you're getting like chased by 2 dudes with their big whoppers out, and like that is scary enough. Like they just want to hunt you down and whack you to death with big axes or whatever. But the Whistleblower DLC takes that one step further when the knob terror of everything happening becomes centered on you. So halfway through this game, you get sort of kidnapped by this man he's not a very nice man. He thinks of himself as a kind of like amateur surgeon. He likes to cut people up in really horrific ways. So you go unconscious, and when you wake up, you're on a horrible slab of wood with machetes around you, and you look down, and your bits are out. Your bits are out. You're in the most vulnerable position you've ever been in. Knob here, bolo there. How am I going to get out of this? Hands tied up. I mean, we've all been there on a Sunday morning after a big night out in Rise, but this is particularly harrowing because there's a saw right at the end, James Bond-esque. There's this buzzsaw going around and round. And your bits are right there in full view. We can't show any of this. Sorry, Osley, who has to edit this. Literally none of this footage is probably going to be usable unless you blur it all out. And I just remember watching this like, you know what, maybe we've gone too far. As a species, as a culture, as an industry of video games, I didn't really need to see this. I'm not very squeamish. I like horror movies, I like horror games, but I was just imagining me in that situation, and I was thanking God I wasn't playing this in VR. Because imagine that, you wake up, whoa, where am I at, baby? Whoa, crazy night, got my bits out, who's the lucky lady? Oh God, it's a saw, and there's a man here staring me in the eyeballs while he tries to chop my dick off. Fortunately, he doesn't, and you get out, and you're just nutty, but it's spooky, it's scary.
He just wanted you to be his wife?
I don't want to be his wife. I don't want to be his wife.
Fair enough. I, much like everyone else in the room, I've got two. One to quickly shout out to, just because I sort of looked down, as you do, and I'm like, well, Dark Souls, if there was one game that I would want to replay again for the first time, it would be Dark Souls 1. Even just for that first moment in the tutorial level, just coming through and being like, oh, this is a nice big room, some pots. The Zelda nerd in me really wants to go break the pots. Yeah, let's do that. And oh my God, down comes the first boss, who is this big, thick dude who you do literally like 1 damage to, and just that sort of feeling of confusion and hopelessness and just like, welcome to Dark Souls-ness. That would be really cool to experience again for the first time, for sure. My second shout out was going to be to Mass Effect 2.
Yes!
Because I streamed that on Twitch, and a lot of people were like, right, please make sure you speak to every person and you get everyone to be your friend because there's a final mission and you need to speak to everyone. So that kind of like ruined it for me. I mean, I just wanted the game to be like a good experience, so I was happy to take tips and stuff. I think if I had played through that game not realizing that like every single conversation I had was going to determine like who survived at the end of the game, then that would have been a whole different experience for me. So I'd love to forget that so that I could play it again. and maybe have that. I mean, I lost 3 people. 3 people died for me, but who knows what I would have done without the help and guidance of helpful internet people. I might have lost everyone. Probably would have lost everyone. I mean, if I had lost, say, Morden, for example, then I wouldn't have had that moment in Mass Effect 3. So maybe I am grateful that I got help, because that was bloody beautiful and sad.
Well, it was my birthday this past weekend and the party continues in earnest. So everybody wish me a big happy birthday. Thank you very much.
Happy birthday, Benji!
Oh, thank you. You make me embarrassed. But now I'm getting on in years. I'm in my 50s. I've got a problem where, or maybe a blessing, where I'm just naturally forgetting things anyway. So I'm getting the opportunity to replay and reread and rewatch all sorts of stuff that I enjoyed in my youth. However, there's a few things that remain in my noggin, and I've got a couple, like everybody else. Actually, I've got 3, but I wanted to, fit in. When in 1998, I had a game called Banjo-Kazooie, which many of you might know. It's about a bear with a bird in a backpack, and it's all sedate, nice, fair, very colourful. You go to lots of thematic levels like Egypt and woods and things like that. But there's one level set in a haunted mansion, and it's really scary because you've got these gravestones that pop out the floor with little bobble eyes and go "Urgh," like this and run at you. Although it sounds ridiculous, after I played that level, I had to take the cartridge out my N64 and put it in a different room, because just looking at it reminded me of these horrifying gravestones. And it still haunts me a little bit today, so I would like to forget that. And there's another moment as well, which ironically is actually one of my fondest memories, but one I'd like to relive. And that's also back in 1998, when Ocarina of Time was about to come out. It was top of my Christmas list. In fact, it was the only thing on my Christmas list. So I went to a shop in Darlington with my parents, and I went in and asked the cashier, do you think you'll have any Ocarina of Times in for Christmas? And despite the fact that there was like a literal mountain of the games in front of me, he said, oh no, it's all sold out. We won't get them back in until next year. My dad was like, never mind, son, maybe for your birthday in 6 months' time. So anyway, went home a bit dejected. And then come Christmas morning, at the very last second, there was one extra present under the tree, and it was like a square shape. I thought, oh, what could it be? And I opened it up, and it was Rakuga Kids on the... No, it was Ocarina of Time. And it was like, obviously this Clark had lied to me, which he shouldn't have done. But anyway, the first time I played the game was probably one of the best gaming moments of my life. I literally, I actually cried when I turned it on. It was magical, and I'd love to go back and repeat that, as fond as that memory is. Aww. Heartwarming. I have a feeling, I have some emotions.
What's number 3?
What's number 3? Good question. I've forgotten it, so that's appropriate. Perfect.
So the gaming moment I would want to forget is, there's a couple, and so I could play them again. And obviously the first one is, as always, something to do with the Elder Scrolls, which is, I'd just love to be able to go back to Oblivion and not know anything about it, purely to burst out of the sewer and be like, oh my God, the lands of Oblivion, I'm here again! But not say again, because I wouldn't know, because it'd be the first time and it'd be great. And to be able to do that Dark Brotherhood quest again, because I absolutely love the one where you're in that house, you have to masquerade round in your fancy outfit and be like, oh, I'm gonna kill you later. But make it all really sneaky. I was a Khajiit for that level, and it looked really strange. I was like this bold Khajiit in this flowing gown, hello, meow, ladies. But yeah, I'd like to do that again and not know anything about it, because the way that game plays is very close to my heart. It is my favourite, so I would like to be able to do that again. And another one is through working here, through the graces and joys of working here, some games that I had yet to catch up on from not having a PlayStation for ages, which was The Last of Us. I ended up knowing every single thing about the plot from being around gamers and all that sort of thing. So I knew about David being a massive, horrible git that I had to stab and kill and get rid of him, which was very satisfying, but yeah, I knew about him. I knew about the end as well, about Joel being like, oh, I can't let it happen, and taking her away and stuff, which would have had a lot more impact, I think. I think I would have dropped a few fat tears at that if I hadn't have already known about it. It was great and still an amazing gaming experience, but yeah, I would like to be able to go in fresh without the memory and enjoy. Are you okay? You're fucking having a breakdown over there.
I really thought you were going to say fat farts.
Yeah, I would have dropped a few fat farts to The Last of Us if I'd have known. If I hadn't have known the story. Oh God, Joel, what are you doing?
So the gaming moment that I'd like to forget, much like my son Ewan, I've got two, I've taught him well. The first one is the fact that I want to forget something that I really enjoyed because it really hit me like a sort of cinder block to the face. We've all been there, right? And it was the moment in BioShock when you got the "would you kindly" reveal, and everything just made sense by that point. It just was so lovely and so much like, oh God, I kind of saw the signs, but I didn't think that it was going to end this way, and it was just amazing. So I would love to relive that again because it's kind of sparked my entire obsession with the BioShock franchise. I mean, I love all three games and I love the book that came with it as well. I wish there was more of it. Give me more, please. But the other thing I do want to forget, I might have told you guys this story before actually. It was back when Resident Evil 2 was sort of on the horizon, shambling towards us, and official PlayStation Magazine put out their demos, and I played the demo for Resident Evil 2 far before I should have been able to play it. Thank you, Dad, for that one. And I got to a point where you put Leon on top of a bin, and you can't see what's on the other side of the bin, but you can hear it, and it's just the shambling of like, content. It's like literally like the sounds that Josh makes when he comes in the morning. Just kind of like, you've had a heavy night in the sesh there, have you, mate? Oh yeah. Oh, brilliant. I listen to my indie bands. I'm too cool to invite you guys out. Yeah, anyway, so it was that sort of noise, and it got to me. I got so upset by it as a little kid that I obsessed over it. I stapled the pages shut on the magazine so I didn't have to look at it when I was flicking through. I gave the disc to my dad. My dad didn't understand because to him, obviously, he's looking at it just like, come on, you soft twat, come on. Like, I thought I raised you better than this. I beat some sense into you. And then, it just was me for the next 2 weeks, just constantly paranoid, like, what the hell's going on, man? I don't like this. So yeah, I would like to forget that because I feel like my love for horror would have emerged regardless of that. But Resident Evil 2 definitely set me back, and my cleaner's bills quite a lot. Sorry, Mum. Hi everyone, we've been making Chatty Faces here on the WhatCulture Gaming channel for almost a year, and Chatty Faces number 52 marks something special, our Chattyversary.
So we're doing something different, something special. You, the viewers, have been an integral part to the series' success.
Chatting with you all and reading the comments and seeing you tell us how much you love this series keeps us making it every single week.
So we want you to give us the questions to answer on Chatty Faces 52. Not question, questions.
We're going to do a quick-fire Ask Me Anything episode of Chatty Faces featuring all of us. And we're going to answer all of your burning questions, whether they are video game-based or not.
Tweet your questions using the hashtag ChattyFaces52. Ask us them over on the Discord, or leave us a comment down in the actual Chatty Faces YouTube videos themselves.
We're going to mix things up. Your questions are going to be randomly asked to any presenter. Asking Ash what type of eyeshadow she uses? Well, Scott might have to answer that one. Could be interesting.
Thank you all so much for all your support over the last year.
Chatty Faces has been an incredibly fun thing for us to make.
And we love watching them with you.
Blimey, nearly 52 episodes down and many more to go.
Questions. Twitter, Discord, YouTube, hashtag ChattyFaces52. Go.
Once again, thank you.
See you next week.
That's what you told them, Mum.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching. Now, if you want more Chatty Faces, why not watch through the rest of our playlist? But I just want to say a big thank you to the brilliant channel sponsors for voting on this week's Chatty question. And if you want to join the vote, then why not consider hitting the join button and becoming a sponsor today? And we will see you next week. Bye!